Hello there, babies. This is the real Mimzie today. Mimzie's got the flu. And that just happens sometimes. But it was just the exact right time for this book to come in. Nurse Nancy. I do love the nurses. My great aunt Greta was a nurse. My Piper's my favorite nurse. And my bestest friends, they're nurses. And I just have so much respect for nurses. I just want you to know that this was actually my Aunt Belle's favorite book when she was a little girl. Not Dr. Dan, the Bandage Man. It was Nurse Nancy. Well, and I thought it might be after I got to reading. But yeah, it was Nurse Nancy. And of course, it's a little golden book. And you can tell by the artwork that it's old. Let's see if we can get an OG copyright date in here. 1952. Yeah, she old. But let's jump right on into Nancy. I wish Nancy would come take care of Mimzie. I'm home all alone eating my canned chicken noodle soup and my Red Diamond Splenda sweet tea in the extra bedroom so I don't get Papa sick. No love. All right, so let's look at these great pictures. I just love the art on these classic books. Oh, that jade green dresser. Ooh, I could put that in my dining room. I like that. Nancy liked to play with dolls. She liked to play mother. She liked to play teacher. And best of all, she liked to play nurse. I remember, Kim, this is the 50s. Right? I gotta remind Mimzie, we're talking about the 50s. She had a fine doll hospital, complete with lots of bandages and handy candy pills. Y'all remember those candy cigarettes? That was a good time. But she had no one to play with her. That poor little Nancy. I think part of the reason I like this book so much when I was a little girl, I had a little cousin with brown hair and brown eyes, same age as me, and her name was Nancy. Her brothers called Nurse Nancy as they raced past her door, but they never had time to stop and play. They were always too busy with big boy games. I guess that's a lot like other reindeer games. Y'all look at this iron. That's one of those old irons. You have to heat it up on a heat source. And she got her some Band-Aids. I wonder if Johnson & Johnson sponsored these back in the 50s. Mother stopped in at the hospital sometimes. One day, she had a hurt finger. Down from her shelf, Nurse Nancy took a brand new box, and she put on Mother's finger a red heart-shaped plastic bandage. That's what we used to use at the tanning bed. Some of them weren't heart-shaped, though. Some of them were little cute bunnies. Cute little bunnies, stickers at the tanning beds. No, kids, don't go to the tanning beds. They'll make you old and wrinkly before your time. Another day, Nancy heard a great commotion out in the backyard. It didn't sound like just a lively baseball game. It sounded like trouble, and it was. Mimzie thinks she's fixing it. Sneeze flea germs all over the extra bedroom. Oh, goodness. I've seen this happen to me in real life. I got popped by hornets like 9 times. It happened to Papa one time. He was out in a boat, and they pulled the boat over so he could go take a little tinkledy-winkle in the bushes and stirred up a nest of ground hornets. And they came for him. I don't know how many times they got Papa before he jumped back in the river. But I digress. The boys' ball had hit a bee's nest, and angry bees were pouring out. Ooh, you don't mess with them hornets. Them hornets, especially when they're from hooks. Look out, Tom shouted. Here they come. And the 3 boys came racing toward the house with the angry bees close behind. Wait, are we bees or are we hornets? Is it a bee's nest? Okay, I must be overlaying memories in my mind. I do have 100-degree fever, so there is that. Nancy ran and held the door open while the boys came piling in. Then she slammed it shut on the bees. Whew, planted the boys. We are safe. Look at all those bees coming behind those boys. Nancy saved their bacon. You see that little boo-boo on his leg? When I was a little girl, I kind of fixated on that little boo-boo. I was real fascinated by it. Of course, now Nancy, we know she needed to glove up before she touching that bodily fluids. But Tom was not safe. He had fallen. Nancy was a nurse, so Nancy knew what to do. First, she took a good look at the wound. Without her gloves or her mask. She got a clean cloth and a towel from the drawer. She dampened and soaked the cloth. Go and lie down, patient, she said. She's kind of bossy. I like that. Tom did, and she propped a pillow under his leg with a clean towel over the top. Then she washed that cut off carefully. It's clean now, Nancy said. Well, besides the fabric pieces stuck in the wound from unhygienic cloth cleanings. But it's not my business. The damp cloth was nice and cool against the burning sting. Soon the hurt had stopped. How do you feel now? Nancy asked. Much better, said Tom, and tried to smile. But when he looked at the ugly cut, he could not quite manage a smile. I think Tom's a weenie. I can fix that, said Nancy. So she opened her supply box and covered the cut with a brightly colored bandage. I like the brightly colored ones. That brand new bandage looked so fresh and fine that even Tom could smile at it now. Look at Tom. He almost smiled. When Mother came home, the boys told her all about the cut and Nurse Nancy's good care while they had their lunch. I'm proud of you, dear. And she gave Nancy a special hug and an extra cookie, too. Tom's probably thinking, I'm the one that got hurt. Where's my extra cookie? I don't want like an extra cookie. I just take even one cookie right now. Somebody want DoorDash, I'll give you my address. After lunch, the boys hung around instead of hurrying back out to play. What do you say we play ambulance, Billy suggested. Fine, said Nancy. So they fixed up the wagon for an ambulance. I used to fix up my wagon as my Barbie's mobile home. We traveled all over. Or she did. You just take that mascara and change your hair color too. But then she was greasy forever. Just then, ding-a-ling came a telephone ring. Nurse Nancy answered. Hospital, she said. There's been an accident. She heard a voice call down at the big tree. They all looked down there just in time to see Billy flopping down, moaning, fine, big moans. I'll drive the ambulance, Tom cried. I'll be the doctor, cried Dan. Of course it was Dan. You know about Dan. Who am I kidding? We're not reading nothing without these. Then away they raced. Tom pulled the ambulance. Dr. Dan raced beside him with his doctor bag, and Nurse Nancy proudly rode. I'm glad she got at least a ride, like we need a doctor horning in on Nurse Nancy's business. She was doing fine without any doctors around. Always thinking that a woman can't handle stuff. I don't 50s, Mimzie, 50s. When they reached the accident, Nurse Nancy put a bandage on Billy for first aid. Triage. Then, gotta get some air. Then the doctor and the ambulance man lifted him onto the ambulance and back to the hospital they went. Billy had such a good time playing sick with pink and green candy pills that the others could hardly wait for their turns. I just bet. I wonder if those were Daddy's candy pills or Grandma's. Some of them grandmas had good candy pills. The telephone kept ringing with ambulance calls. Patients kept coming to the hospital wanting brand new bandages. Nurse Nancy was so busy she could scarcely think. Well, she said when supper time came to end her busy day, I'm certainly glad I'm a nurse. That's not what my friend said. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I hope you like Nurse Nancy. I liked it when I was a little girl. It holds well considering it's from the 50s. So it's a pretty old book. It's older than Mimzie. Anyway, Mimzie loves you.